Hello, everyone. There you are. How you doing out there in internet land? Hey, welcome back to what is this? This is the Rational Investors weekend show, our Broiler Chicken Show. Bark, and then cue the theme song. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. Anyway. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Brian Beamish from The Rational Investor, rationalinvestor.com. And as you can see on the background, we've got the TRI dashboard up here ready to rock and roll. Interesting, we had a pretty powerful buy signal that fired there in the stock market last week. We won't really get into stocks today, unless, of course, somebody happens to ask a question. But I think what I'm going to try and do on these Sunday shows is we go on for a couple hours, but it's a little bit disjointed. It's a little bit, scatterbrained here and there. I'm going to try and be a little bit more religious about format going forward, which, of course, should make Josh happy. But I think on balance, what I've planned to do here going forward, of course, feel free to drop a comment in the video how today goes. I'm always trying new things, so sometimes I land flat on their face, sometimes I do great. Hello, Gordon. Gordon says, "Hey, baby." So first thing Sunday mornings, what I think I'd like to do sort of going forward as kind of a habit is just do a nice little Bitcoin review, starting at the higher time frames and just sort of working our way down. Higher time frames being the weekly charts. I think this morning I did MTF medium time frame looking at the daily chart. And then lower time frame, looking at like the 4-hour chart. I don't think, for the sake of time, I don't think, going down to like the 15-minute chart. Hell, I was in there trading off of the 9-minute chart and the 3-minute chart through the weekend, just having fun scalping Bitcoin back and forth. I won't go into that in particular here in this video. Feel free to join the site. We have a 30-day trial if you want to sort of kick the tires and see whether our community is something that fancies you or tickles your fancy. I don't know how that goes. Anyway, so we'll try to do like weekly analysis, daily analysis, 4-hour analysis, which should give you a pretty good idea of what I'm thinking is going to happen in the market. Who knows if that actually plays out or not. Everybody's crystal ball sometimes works, sometimes is a bit fuzzy. But anyway. And then the second half of the show, try and get a little bit more religion about sort of structure here, is we'll do the AMA, because keep in mind, these weekend shows are supposed to technically be for the students. If students have asked any questions going through the course material, and maybe the instructor just, doesn't have time or maybe needs a little bit of help with answering the questions, well, that's what this document's for. So, and by all means, this is a document, for everybody on TRI who's watching this document's open to all students. We can get into level 2, level 3 concepts, no problem. I feel very confident in my skill set to be able to answer questions on the fly. So it's just really a question of how can I help you guys best. Coming into today, is today the 5th of March already? Jeez, where the hell does the year go, eh? So already steamrolling our way through winter. In fact, actually, I thought it was interesting. Over in Eastern Europe, they actually declare spring here in the beginning of March. Here in the West, we declare spring, I think it's the 20th, 21st, somewhere in there. Winter officially ends and we head into spring. And of course, I've been sort of counseling of late that I would be very leery about making any hasty decisions in the marketplace ahead of the middle of March. Anybody living in the Western world, you've probably heard of the expression the Ides of March. Anybody who studied Shakespeare or Julius Caesar or any of that kind of stuff. Um, us in the West here, we have a special sort of, I guess, historical reference for the Ides of March. Sadly, of course, this is when my wife passed away, so this is a tough time of year for me anyway. But hey, PMA for the win. You know, actually, I was telling somebody on the site the other day, ironically enough, if she hadn't passed, I actually wouldn't be doing any of this with any of you. I'd be off in marriage land and perfectly happy living my life with Jojo and Lily as a very quiet retail broker here in the Lower Mainland of Vancouver. But you know, you never know what the hell God's got in store for you, what your fate is. So you know, whatever time I have left, I've actually even made promises on social media and stuff that you know, my goal, which is a bit odd, because I've had some people say, Brian, why aren't you fucking rich, man? Why are you even doing all this stuff? I mean, the interesting thing is I've done almost every job in this business. So this is a really good example where I was a licensed options broker and I used to trade derivatives all the time. In fact, actually, I was even a prop derivatives trader for a prop firm out of Chicago. So, you know, my job for the rest of my life is to try and point out to all of you all the funny little oddities that I've seen happen in the market. You know, this whole idea of, you know, if you actually do want to, you know, make a change in your life for the better, and you want to use something like speculating in the marketplace to change your financial condition, I actually think it's completely realistic. I think it's completely doable. It's just you got to know the rules. And sadly, nobody out there in this world actually teaches you the rules. And I would strongly suggest if you really want to learn how this crap works, that you come to TRI and learn the rules. There are some people, and God bless their soul, who would just watch these free videos and have watched them for like a year or two straight and have taken notes religiously and been able to train themselves. So, I mean, you know, hats off to you. But I actually found that, you know, I mean, it's like, I suppose you could go and self-teach yourself, you know, how to be a lawyer, how to be a doctor, all that. Or you could go to a school and it's all going to be in a nice condensed package. Well, in essence, our education program is along those lines. And actually, that reminds me, Chris, if you could, in that document that we talked about earlier, I didn't mention it. If you could find we have a landing page for the school sign up. I should probably have that on the screen and show everybody. And also, too, we do a raffle every single term for a seat in the level 1 school program. And, you know, if life is a bit challenging and the good Lord wants you to do this, interestingly enough, our very first winner of the raffle, David O, he is actually sort of the quarterback of our weekly Stock Pickers Club meeting, and it's awesome just hanging out with him. He has learned this stuff backwards, and he is a really, really good trader. And, you know, I mean, he won the first raffle. Hey, there you go. Chris got it for me. Oh, you are so awesome. And if anything, Chris, if we could maybe just throw that in the documents, so every video that we do, we should just have this on the screen. So I suggest to everybody, and maybe we can also put this in, like in the, I'm not quite sure how we do this on YouTube, in the, you know, how all the YouTubers, they go, okay, the link is in the description below, right? And they point down to it. I'll just throw it in the actual chat box there, and if we could maybe throw that also in the description, I think that would be a good idea. I'm sure it probably already is. But you can see a new school term starts in about 2 or 3 months. So it's not like there's, you know, like, oh my God, we're going to get this done tomorrow. You know, but if anything, I love this page because, number one, if you come and you give us your email and your name, you automatically get entered into the raffle. So, hey, we might just bug you, say, hey, you know what? You just won a seat in the school program. Oh, man, right on, cool. But also, too, this has actually turned into a really, really good source just to get an idea of what the education program is all about. And then also, too, typical frequently asked questions. And then, I've often told people over the years that I actually don't think that I'm a very good sort of shill for this program. What would be a better shill is you actually listen to all the people who have taken the program and what has been the effect on their lives. And, have I actually empowered you? As I said there a few minutes ago, but I can't remember where the hell the damn tweet is. Here, right here. I'm never really going to tell you what to buy or sell. I mean, I'll show you what I'm buying and selling. And actually, I even bought a cryptocurrency here over the weekend. So I suppose if you're interested, I can show you what it is. It shouldn't surprise you when I show you what it is that I bought. But nonetheless, if you want to join me, great. You're more than welcome. But remember, each and every one of us is running our own trading plan. That's a reflection of who you are, not who I am, who you are. And actually, interesting, one of our OGs, this was a bit of a banter that I had back and forth with him. He was basically saying, the whole copy trade. I love listening to Colin. I think Colin, again, a TRI OG. Now he's off, running his own fund and a quarterback of his own site, and it does daily shows and stuff. Fantastic mind in the market. A TRI alum. We were having actually a really interesting conversation about how copy trading isn't really in your best interest. It's not really good. And my response to him was, when he put out his original comment about copy trading, I've never met a trader who's ever been right 100% of the time. It just doesn't exist. I mean, I've been at this darn game for 35 years. I got my first job in this business in 1988. So that's a damn long time. And if it's one thing I've learned, is you are never going to find anybody who's right 100% of the time. It just doesn't exist. The key here is, how do you handle yourself? How do you manage yourself when you're wrong? And even within the crypto space, I've been working in this space. Geez, I guess I first got going here in 2013 or so. I think that's when I first wrote that manual for the level oneers, making direct reference to why I actually got involved in crypto at all to begin with. And what's really tragic is I've seen a number of people that just don't buy my message. You're just never going to be right 100% of the time. So how you actually manage being wrong is a far more important tell as to whether you're going to make it in this business of trading than how good you are at picking winners. I hate to say it, folks. That's just it's the brutal, honest truth of all of this. And the worst part about copy trading, and if you're going to actually go down this route, and you're kind of like, okay, well, maybe can you at least give me a tip, because I totally want to copy with everything that this guy does. And there's one guy over on YouTube, he said they're just awesome, and he just looks like he's just bulletproof. The one thing I'll absolutely tell you is you have to manage yourself. Because what usually ends up happening here with people who do the copy trade kind of route is, they'll never give you kudos for the ones that you're right about, which drives you crazy. Hey, how about that pick that was 3 doubles? Oh, yeah, but what's the news story? And then if they copy trade something and the trade goes wrong, oh my goodness. In fact, I'm actually a bit surprised that there haven't been more lawsuits in this crypto space, given all of the influencers that basically blindly go out. I mean, I watched a YouTube video there the other day where this guy was like, this one particular coin, it was the shit, and I don't really want to beat up on the person, but every once in a while in the lounge, I'll post the chart and go, hey, look, it made another new low. Hey, it made another new low. Oh, I wonder how all the people that just blindly followed this guy are doing. So anyway, there's as somebody, as Andrew says there, Brian is like dad. In actual fact, I met with TRI's sort of marketing guru yesterday, and we actually like the idea. Back when I used to actually, when I first got into the crypto sort of space, I used to come on site like TradingView, and I would spend Monday to Friday trading crude oil. And then on the weekends, I would come into TradingView and trade crypto because that was the only place you could actually chart it. So they used to all call me Coach Brian, Coach Brian. So I actually kind of like that. And Chris, if you could write that down in our sort of daily thing. Josh and I also mentioned it, that I think when we do the shorts, we should probably have like something like trading tips with Coach Brian, those kind of YouTube shorts kind of thing. And then a bracket underneath it, like, 35-year market veteran kind of thing. So the point, I guess, is that I'm not going to tell you what to buy and sell in the marketplace. I don't think that that's a good idea. I will show you and try and demonstrate through best practices how you're supposed to run your small business of trading. Sometimes in tough markets, it means actually just dialing everything back. Maybe just get to the point where you're only paper trading, because, man, this is a difficult market and I don't want to be throwing my money away. And I can see these market makers are running stops right, left, and center. It's a total con job. And there are definitely market states, don't fight the Fed, all that kind of stuff, that this is just business as usual. So, all right. Anyway, there's your intro rant for you. Hopefully you got a little bit of value out of that. And if you've, by all means, please, we'd like that. I haven't really taken this that seriously going in the past. I've sort of joked about it, but the marketing department would like to see us do relatively well. So I think we have about 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. It would mean a lot to us if we could get that number up to, say, above 10,000. So if you found any value, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. I see that there's about 30, 40 people over there watching the video right now, and we got 10 likes. According to Google, the more likes we get, the more comments that you put in the fields, the better we do, and the more exposure we get. So that would help out a lot. To remember, I don't know whether you guys actually know. Oh, is my background thing screwing up here? Oh, that's my, that's funny. My little logo here. I thought that was the green screen screwing up. But anyway, let's put you up there. The whole reason why I'm doing this, and I sort of started the video off, maybe you all need to be reminded, I don't know. But my wife passed away, 10, 15 years ago. And I think about her, I talk to her, I know it sounds crazy, every single day since she's passed away. I mean, like every day. I have, of course, a 22-year-old son with severe autism, diagnosed ASD. And, of course, he is basically trapped mentally in that window as well. So I am with him 2-3 times a week for a good few hours. He's now 22 years old, so he's really a young man now. But nonetheless, we basically still live that life, like literally a month or two before Mummy passed. And really, he doesn't even really make that many references after that date. Like, he is like literally frozen in time there. So why do I do this? Why did I go down all this route? And it's honestly because I want to make a positive difference in this world. I mean, I've lived my old man, he used to always joke, right? Oh, you're the big Bay Street broker. Bay Street's the the big financial street in Canada here. Um, I've lived that life. And I was I was having a conversation with somebody on the site about this weekend. I have lived so many different lives. I mean, I could be a penny stock promoter, millionaire Joe, easily. I mean, I know everybody on the street up and down here, and I have to tell people, oh, watch out for that guy. Murray Pesum. If any of you know who the hell Murray Pesum is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've traded on the floor of the CME with the fucking Wall Street guys. Dow pit right here, S&P 500 pit here. I'm basically center of the universe for capitalism. I walked away from that. I was a derivatives broker, which getting your options license in Canada is like, oh, half to next to impossible. I walked away from that. I don't know what the hell the purpose of my life is here. But I have a funny feeling that all of this was supposed to happen. And I sure hope that I'm making a positive difference in this world. And that's what my goal is with all of this. No doubt about it. So, a lot of people have a hard time believing that. But believe it or not, and where's the camera? I'm talking right to you from my heart. It's the God's honest truth. All right. Let's take some time, look at some Bitcoin charts. I think like I said, for these Sunday shows, I'd like to do the first half, if I can quit with the rhetoric. The first half, we'll look at the weekly, daily 4-hour chart levels that I pointed out. And then the second half, we'll speak specifically to the level 1 students and any questions. And if we just, finish with the questions, we'll open up the floor to the public YouTube channel comments. And if you guys have questions over there, I can always ask, or I can always answer. Try at least. And thank you, Colin. Love you too, sweetie. I'll tell you, Colin is the atypical Canadian poster boy citizen. If you want to know what a good Canadian is and what sort of the mold was supposed to be, get to know Colin. Just absolutely beautiful person. There you go. Right back at you, buddy. Okay, so first and foremost, start off of higher time frames. The crypto market, we're going through the basing period of the 4-year cycles. By all means, watch all my previous videos about where we are on those cycles. I've talked about that at length. So really, this conversation is more about where are we given our understanding that we already know that we're at the bottom of the cycle, and 2023 is a better cycle year pivot. So we should be trying to find some sort of bottom, and hopefully, really I can't answer whether you've done it or not, but hopefully what you see is my expectations for 2023 is a bottoming type year. Now, that doesn't mean moon. That means probably a lot of let's wash out some liquidity to the upside. Let's wash out some liquidity to the downside. And let's see if we can break as many hearts as possible. This is the Richard Wyckoff sort of bottoming process. What does this process of markets bottoming look like? And hopefully you can see the little FU moves to the upside. Oh, I'm a bull. No, you're not. Then FU moves to the downside. Oh, I'm a bear. No, you're not. And then back up, and then, okay, no, this is the bull. Here we go. Now, oh, damn it. Oh, no, okay, it turns out this was a bear, and we need to go short. And then, all right, see, now I was right. This is a bear. Oh, no, you're not. And it's just a train wreck back and forth. So if you haven't been in this space long, then you probably need to go slowly. I mean, didn't you notice how absolutely insanely bullish everybody got there a week or so ago? I mean, God, you'd think that we were in a whole new capitalist cycle. And of course, what's so funny, and if anything, again, if you're new to this and you're watching this video and you're trying to learn stuff, write this down. Whenever you see a market rally or sell off because of a reason that's not really related to the actual asset, that is a major warning sign. So, for instance, when Bitcoin tanked, I suppose I can just show you this here. When Bitcoin tanked through here, this was all about the sickness. And this was all about, should we debate mortgaging our kids' future and throwing away the value of our currency and handing over our lives as slaves to the banksters? Should we go and give him his money, give him his money. I'm going to sacrifice my life to save the capitalist system. What? Oh, God. Terrible talk. Nothing to do with Bitcoin at all. So, was that a buying opportunity? You better believe it. And of course, I actually worked with a guy years ago who, and I loved, sort of making him famous for it, who actually stepped up and had the balls to actually buy that 88.6 level. And I was very proud of him for that. I thought that was an excellent achievement. Of course, you can also see the nice W's and dips 78.6 against market structure lows. That's actually what we call a shark setup on the site. And if you had stepped in and bought that 5,000 Bitcoin 5,400 level, would you be a happy camper? I think so. Now, unfortunately, it also works the other way around. And that's what I think's actually just happened here. Did Bitcoin and did cryptocurrencies here actually rally because cryptocurrencies are all the rage and everybody's in love with blockchain? No. Why did the market rally here? Ironically enough, it actually rallied because of artificial intelligence. Remember, that's what got everybody all going crazy there and coming out of December and into the new year. And I thought it was very telling. Somebody on social media said, comparing AI and cryptocurrencies is like comparing Coca-Cola and the construction industry. I mean, they're not even remotely related. So that, I think, is a bit of a warning sign. Something doesn't smell right about all of this. Andre says could be tax loss selling end of year and just seasonality bounce into Q1. Absolutely. In fact, I would say if somebody was going to hold a gun to my head and say, what was this rally all about? That's what Andre's called a relief rally. And if we look at things like momentum indicators, what does Brian say when his modified Williams percentage R indicator is sitting below minus 80? Is that something that we should pay attention to? Would it be a good idea to sell into this negativity? Probably not. If you need help, of course, consider taking our education program to learn about why Brian built this indicator. So the point here is that this market was ridiculously oversold because, just sell. It was a one-way train wreck. And of course, what was really interesting was last fall when I would do these shows and I'd ask people, hey, do you have your together? Are you ready for the next bull market? You couldn't give away cryptocurrencies here. And yet, in hindsight, obviously, that was a bad idea. You should have been just backing up the truck and loading up. But that dead cat bounce has now played itself out. In fact, I might argue the market is no longer oversold. I wouldn't necessarily say the market is overbought. And interestingly enough, from this perspective, do we really want to be selling and shorting into the market right there? Probably not. You can see these beautiful MACD histograms making higher highs and higher lows. So that generally is positive. When this MACD histogram starts making lower highs and lower lows, mind you, we didn't see a lower low here, but definitely lower highs, then you know we've got trouble. And you know the sad part about it is that in the public space, there were people who actually publicly said, don't worry about momentum indicators. Look at this RSI indicator. If you're a fan of RSI, holy moly, RSI saying, you know what, just leave this damn thing alone here. This has got trouble written all over it. And sure enough, there's the end result. Willie's stupid, right? And of course, you know, anybody who's followed me, you know exactly the story. So the question here now is that really a shorting window? Does that look like it's in bearish divergence? I mean, it's interesting. We do have a little bit of volume div coming in here. That's a bit of a warning sign. So I definitely think that if you are a bull, you might want to just cool your jets. I don't think it's necessarily a short, but coming in on the buy side and throwing new money at the market right here, I think is kind of asking for trouble a little bit. Chris, did we monetize this thing? We should probably monetize this video. Are you there, Chris?
Yes, we did. Yes.
All right. So maybe you could do the one where people can click through the commercials, because I hate it when you have to sit there for like 10, 15 seconds and listen to the YouTube ads. But YouTube
commercials are set, yes.
So YouTube just said there, hey, maybe this is a good place for an ad. And if you want to just click through it, it's fine, you know, but probably not a bad idea to throw that in there. All right, back to our story. So the point being that we have come an awful long way here, folks. I mean, we were down here at, what, 16 G's, and we worked our way all the way up to 24 G's. I mean, that's $8,000. That's a 50% return on your money. I mean, come on. And this is the bothersome part about crypto, is that the market will jump up, but people won't, you know, they won't acknowledge that, hey, you know, actually this stuff's actually getting a little bit risky now. Be careful. So I'm not saying crypto's a short. In fact, you know, I built this totally awesome 1980s website back when I was, you know, brokering, and, you know, my wife actually was alive back then. One of Spirit's sort of treats for me, because I did go down this road, was, I believe, Spirit brought into my life a gentleman by the name of Mr. Pennicook, who I believe is an absolute angel. He's just such a beautiful human being. His kids are so lucky. They're going to have the best dad ever. And he's a PHP whiz, and he's like, well, I think it's about time we bring your 1980s website into the 21st century. And the point that I'm trying to make here is that I used to actually run this service. I used to call it the Weekly Commodity Trend Survey. And I used to actually like publish this and send it out to people, clients and stuff. And it's just really a simple scoring system where the higher the number, and maximum score is 6 and the lowest number is 0. The higher the number, the more bullish I want to be. And the lower the number, the more bearish I want to be. So it's interesting, if we look at the currencies, 3s and 4s, that's not really anything to get excited about. We come down to, like, you know, here's all the commodity markets. We got, you know, a few 5s, so there are some commodities that are very interesting. A lot of 3s and 4s, meh. Bonds, 3s and 4s, don't really want to invest in them, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then you come down to cryptocurrencies, and look at this, 6, 6, 6. Remember, I said 6 is the highest possible rating you can get. This is a weekly survey, which means that this stuff is investment grade now. And of course, it makes perfect sense. Do you hear any moon boys in crypto right now? I mean, there's a few moon boys out there, but it's nothing like the top of the market. And I haven't heard anybody say, oh, you know what? Screw technical analysis. It doesn't matter. Just buy. You're going to make a fortune. We haven't got the humans to that point yet. Thank heavens. If you start hearing that, and if you ever, let's see if you, it's quiz time, everybody. So first off, I see there's 54 viewers and 28 likes. Can we maybe get a couple more likes, please? Pretty please. If I've said anything here that you find maybe is going to help your trading a little bit, I'd appreciate it. But what is the one phrase? The one phrase that if we hear this phrase, oh my God, run for the hills. And it's ridiculous because every time it happens, we are in the most insane blow off top bull market. And it's just got trap written all over it. And Brian's sitting there, of course, just pulling his hair out. Just going, please don't, please don't. Good answer, Cole. I like that. Excellent, Adam. Excellent, Julian. Is that my Julian? Francis says TTID. Excellent, Eric. Good. Excellent. Good. So you guys are, and has anybody heard, oh, this time it's different? I haven't really heard that kind of talk. Thank heavens. Anyway, so back to our analysis. Believe it or not, this is the type of market where the expression I like to use, and you've probably heard it in Wall Street before, pullbacks are buying opportunities. We're not allowed to chase as good technicians. And of course, it's hard to double and triple your money on trades if you do chase and you buy up markets. But if you can actually force yourself to wait for a little bit of panic to come into the market, kind of like what I just showed you with Mr. Kavarkinator's incredible trade. As I said, like this was an example. And it's everything that we teach in the education program. So nobody should say, well, you never talked to us about that before. I mean, this is so cliche. Reload zones, previous market structure. Can I force myself to buy when others are selling? Very difficult to do. I'm not going to say it's easy. This is half the reason why we built the school program is you have to plan this ahead of time. There's no way, I can absolutely tell you without a shadow of a doubt, there was no way people were able to step in and buy that unless they had a plan. Unless they were like, all right, this is everything that we've been taught. There's beautiful weekly W's. There's panic in the market. They're panicking about some sickness or something completely made up garbage to make the humans freak out. And really it's just a massive Wall Street bailout, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that to me sounds like an absolute perfect buying opportunity. And sure enough, like I said, I mean, come on, look at that. So anyway, and then the good part about this is, what does this look like? Down, up, down, breakout. Is that not a W? Is that not what we're trying to be hunting? But just because the W is there, does that mean you can come in and buy it here? No, no, no. You could buy it here. And I wouldn't even be surprised, to be perfectly honest with you. And now, what do you think the odds are that this W right here is in a reload zone? Hello. I mean, there. In fact, I've changed this 78.6. I used to call it the line in the sand. But you know what I think I'm going to call it now? I'm going to call it BFF. Now, what does BFF stand for? Maybe this might be a good way for you guys to remember this going forward. What does everybody call BFF in this world? And really, 78.6 should be your BFF. I'm going to call this BFF. I'm going to call it Brian's favorite fib. Now, B, I can't say that on YouTube. We'll be demonetized in a heartbeat. But I if you happen to see this on charts and stuff, just you'll know, because most of the public will go, what, best friends forever? What are you, some social media clown or something? You know, hanging out with 12-year-old girls? But it's Brian's favorite fib. There you go, Luke. Luke got the best friends forever. But no, it's Brian's favorite fib. But, you know, now, because I've told you the funny anecdote, hopefully you'll look at that and it'll stick in your brain. Oh, 78.6, that's Brian's BFF. Well, actually, that's kind of redundant. Anyway, okay, so the point here is that we've come an awful long way. You see where the original bottom is. And what scares me about this rally, like I said, didn't really have a hell of a lot to do with actual Bitcoin and with actual crypto. It had more to do with Coca-Cola and how does Coca-Cola relate to the construction industry. Now, is this a short? I don't think so. Like I said, I personally would prefer the idea that pullbacks are buying opportunities. Having said that, this is technically an inside bar. This bar right here, you can see the candle body is completely inside the previous body. And interestingly enough, actually, I had a student, I think it was last term or the term before, where he actually corrected me and he went into all the candlestick books and stuff. I would historically like to call this a bear rammy. I wouldn't call this harami because technically harami is a reference to pregnancy. And the whole idea of an inside bar is that this bar is inside this bar's body, i.e. the baby is inside mommy's body. And if we leave, then it's a signal. So, one person years ago actually said, oh yeah, well actually if you directly translate harami, it means baby inside pregnant mother's body kind of idea in Japanese. Anyway, this person actually found out, went and did some extensive research and said, in Japanese candlestick land, if the body is actually inside the previous body, then it's actually okay to call it harami, even if the wick above is outside of mommy's body. I'm going to still just call it an inside bar because interestingly enough, you can see this high was 270. This high was 250. So technically the whole darn candle is inside this candle's candle. Does that make sense? And believe it or not, and this is where, the level oneers, I don't know whether the level oneers, what module they're on this week. They might still be in class. I see Joshua's over there on the YouTube page. Are you guys done now? Maybe that's why we have so many viewers here now. Hope you guys had a good class, but this is a candlestick concept that's in one of our modules. It might be this week. It might be next week. I'm not sure. And if anything, we're probably going to have to make references going forward. But the point here is that actually in textbook Japanese candlestick pattern language, that is technically a bearish harami. I like to call it a bear rammy. I like to call it an inside bar. It is a bearish message. No doubt about it. Is it something that we're really just banging around between a peak and a trough in a trading range? I get that feeling. And when we look at the daily chart in a second, I think that'll make more sense. I guess also too, what I'm thinking here in this sort of summary of the weekly charts, kind of a dangerous sign here, folks, that we could not bounce at least back to the 38.2. That in itself is actually a pretty bearish message. And I don't think a lot of people in the public understand that. You can actually infer a lot about price action just based on how far we can actually bounce. We had Colin's over there on the YouTube page. Colin actually, he coined the term, and I like it. He liked to call this his, in this particular case, this is a bear market. I don't know whether he uses the term for bear market, but I sort of hijacked it and said, all right, I'm going to use it in bear markets. This would be like, I'm a bear, but I don't want to chase an oversold market. Willie's stupidly oversold, so I don't want to short into that. That's kind of asking for trouble. But if I did want to short, where would I short, right? And Colin, hey, there you go. So Colin gives me the green thumbs up. And I would, even because I love making all my old students famous. I love that. I would even just say, we'll call it the Collins Dump Chaser Zone. I have no problem with that. I want to make you famous, dude. I bet you'll just make yourself famous on your own. 38.2 to 50%. But notice, we couldn't even do that. That's not a good sign, folks. That's actually a pretty negative sign. So we have an inside bar that fired. All the oversold conditions, they've all been resolved. And we're actually starting to get a little bit of warning signs that, if this was such a rip-roaring bull, why is the bull buying bar here, which took us to new highs, lower than this high? That's a divergence. Something's not right there, folks. So are the buyers getting exhausted? Maybe. I get the impression that a lot of this was just nothing more than going after all these liquidity pools. And actually, Chris even put out a short video that we did that explains liquidity pools. So go check out the shorts. And I think what we'll probably do going forward is we'll do sort of a lot of sort of really quick sort of tutorials. What does this term mean? What does that term mean? Through the shorts. And like I said, it'll be something like, hey, here's today's trading tip with Coach Brian, 35-year market veteran. What is a liquidity pool? Something along those lines. As I've written here, oversold condition relieved. Seasonally friendly window ending. Keep in mind, how does the cliche go? Do you buy when spring comes along? Do you buy in summertime? Or are you supposed to buy when it's snowing? Right? Here's October, November, December. Buy when it snows. So we're already into March now, folks. Seasonal window is kind of exhausting itself. Easy liquidity pools cleaned out. That's what I think all this is. Clean these stops out. Clean these stops out. Clean these stops out. Notice this is actually a low to high trend line. This is like a brick wall trend line resistance right here. And keep in mind, anybody who wanted to short off a previous market structure fail levels, that's actually the most recent market structure fail level right there. So if you actually did want to get short, that's where you want to get short from, believe it or not. Still like Collins dump chaser zone. If we could get a rally back up into this area, I think that would be an awesome shorting zone, but I think that's down the road. First, I think we need to clean this up a little bit. And then, as you can kind of see, if we look at the market from a symmetrical point of view, you notice that from trough to trough was about 23 bars. That's almost like half a year. So from trough to trough, notice sort of had a midpoint pivot here. Middle of this, is this our midpoint pivot? I don't know. But we might pivot to the upside and head up into Collins 50% level and the trend line resistance. But I can't think like that with this inside bar fired here right now. For now, because the inside bar fired, I have to wait for some sort of bullish fractal. Something that actually says that, yep, the bull is back. So that's sort of what I'm thinking right now, is because the inside bar fired here, we've cleaned out all the liquidity pools. The market's no longer oversold. We've had a pretty one-directional move here. If we do actually operate on a symmetrical perspective, I like the idea that we make some sort of panic low. Oh, what a surprise! Is anything historically happened around Brian's birthday when it comes to crypto? Anyone? Does anybody know? And is it Brian's fault or is it Chris's fault?
Chris's fault. I've heard lots of tell it's Brian's fault.
Okay. All right. So, and as you can see from this chart, I like the idea that, and actually we do this a lot in our weekly stock pickers club with David, and he's really schooled us up a lot. But he will either look at this as a potential inverted head and shoulders, which means that if this is an inverted head and shoulders, we should hold this low. 17,592. If, however, we can't hold that low, then this very easily could turn into a megaphone, and we probably have to go down to that 12, 13,000 level. So, with the weekly bar that's fired, with the fact that the market is in divergence right now, with potential, we'll say. I'm not going to say it's confirmed yet, but potential. With the fact that seasonally we've kind of run out of steam, with the fact that we've moved up so much, I'm not saying that this is a short, but I'm definitely saying that there's no way in hell I could be a buyer right there just yet. Okay, going down to the daily chart. What does that look like? I have put these images out recently. You've probably seen them before. What I think's happening here is this looks like some sort of head and shoulders pattern here. The fact that we had A, B, C, D so well defined, this harmonic is active as we speak right now. It is working. 38.2s, again, if we think about Collins, in this case, this would be the pump chaser zone, if I have that reference correct. 38.2 to 50%, right down in that area. And also, too, notice it's against this key low. Remember, Paul, about a month or so ago, said that he was going to be watching how price acted against this high. And it turns out we pivoted nicely through that. 38.2, I call this the first stop target. Taught to me by an old NYSE floor trader, Ray Burchett. I like the idea that we stab down, at the very least, test this low. I don't think we're going to punch through there, but we could. You notice this A, B, C, D would take us right down into that level. That, to me, makes a lot of sense. Also, too, notice market seems to really like to rally into FOMC events. So my hunch here is that we're probably pretty close to some sort of pivot, Ides of March, all that kind of stuff. But we should see some sort of dead cat bounce, some sort of rally. As I think I pointed out to you at the very beginning of the broadcast, the stock market itself is trying to turn back up here. And this was one hell of a buy signal. And, this is why the 1980s website, this is why I built it, was for this. Was if you ever get a situation where the histogram goes just absolutely uber bearish like this, everything is right on its knees, and you actually get a reading where things like the country funds are like oversold in the short term and the medium term. Didn't quite have a wipeout there on the S&Ps, but pretty darn close. But you can see, everything very, very negative. We get a really deeply oversold condition. And man, when this cross came in, the next day, the market just waffled. And then it just took off like a rocket. And we had a 2-day rally that price just absolutely exploded higher. So we had exactly the same signal came in last October. And when the signal came in, the stock market just took off like a rocket. So there was the rally following that event. There's where the signal was registered by the system. The next day, in comes a W, and woohoo! Look at that move. Couldn't believe it. Is that maybe a little too far, too fast? I'm kind of thinking so. Was this to do with options expiry? I also think yes as well. But anyway, the point being that I can't remember what the hell the point was. Point being that stock market has turned back up. I wouldn't be surprised. I also noticed too, there's a lot of sort of rhetoric in the media right now. It's almost like somebody, and this is the sad part about our society, is that now all the media outlets are owned by these big oligarchs. So they're not really reporting the news anymore. They're reporting what they're told to report as quote unquote the news, which is kind of depressing. I grew up in a world, Walter Cronkite, Peter Jennings, Dan Rather, all those, where actually the news was trustworthy. The news isn't trustworthy anymore. And they'll just say, well, it's all subjective, right? Oh, God, drive me crazy. Anyway, So, like on Friday, for example, I get the distinct impression I've shown you all about the options expiry on BITO and how I think that the whole market was completely manipulated into this level. And the sad part about it is I think that Bitcoin actually has become securitized. And what does securitization look like? I hate to say it, folks, that's what this image is. And, like this is why I think actually working with a crazy guy like me is to your advantage because I don't hear anybody in the cryptoverse, not a single person in the cryptoverse talking about how blatant this market manipulation was. And if they could have this market close above $15 into this big options expiry, this was basically the transfer of 1.2 million shares of this ETF at 15 bucks. Now, what do you think the odds are? Following that, they basically get all the bag holders all along from $15 that they take this thing back down following. Well, as you can see, down she goes. And they even gapped it lower, got moving average resistance now. So this thing's now got one hell of a slog ahead of it. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the people that were forced to exercise 1.2 million shares, I mean, you do the math at 15 bucks a share, we're starting to talk some serious money here, folks. They're probably all now slowly selling. So, that's just unfortunately the way the market works. So my hunch here is that a lot of this had to do with, the securitization of the Bitcoin story. And, the sad part about all of this is that Wall Street can do anything they want to this. And Bitcoin itself just doesn't care. The only thing that matters to Bitcoin is that this price is substantially above the cost of production. That is the only thing that Bitcoin cares about. So can they go and F with the market all up here and screw a whole bunch of public to go long? Yeah, because really the cost of production is like down here. So anything up here, Wall Street's just screwing with the kids. And like I said, they got the kids here buying crypto thinking that it's artificial intelligence. And they're buying crypto to play the artificial intelligence game. And, I thought, like I said earlier, this one guy on social media is like, that doesn't make any sense. What are you doing? Well, what can you do? So a daily chart, I like the idea that there's a support level in here. I also like the idea that we probably get some sort of counter trend rally into FOMC. You can see that the market likes to be bid up into that event. Now, what the hell's going to happen on the other side of FOMC? Dump. Look at this dump. Poof. I mean, even this dump wasn't bad, but nonetheless, dumpy. I get the funny feeling there's a dump in our future ahead of this FOMC event. So just be forewarned, folks. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some monkey business all in here. But once we get on the other side of the FOMC event, I would be very, very leery. And remember, Brian's birthday is way over here. So that gives them this whole window from here into Brian's birthday, right there. This whole window to bring this market down. Is that realistic? I mean, the irony of it all is I pointed out to you, BFFs, you see where Brian's going to be buying this. You see the original market structure bottom. So would it not make sense that they bring price down into this window? Makes sense to me. So that's sort of what I'm seeing as sort of the medium term picture. We haven't broken yet, and I do think that there will be a play against this 38.2 and, Colin's pump chaser zone into that Fed event. And if I was going to short, notice Brian's BFF right up against these original highs. I like that thinking a lot. And if anything, maybe we need to adjust this fib so that Brian's BFF actually aligns with this being a head and shoulders into that FOMC event. And then that way that aligns. So that means that we could actually see Bitcoin come all the way down into sort of things like 2.618. and 50% roll, WD Gans, here before that bounce happens. That's possible. I like the idea that this would be a symmetrical move, so we'll see how this goes. All right, so with all that said, then we drill down to the lowest time frame that I'll talk to you guys about here, and that's our 4-hour chart. So what does that look like? Bottom end of the range, there is that 38.2 we talked about. Another really good thing that you can try and impart on people, if you are teaching other people and you want to learn from Brian, or if you're just trying to learn yourself. It was something that actually I didn't really clue into until about 5 years ago or so. But then when I saw it and I heard somebody say it, I go, of course, that makes complete sense. But notice, at the bottom end of ranges, notice how you see these tails. So you could actually make the argument that, as we're heading lower, notice there's not really that much tail here, not that much, there's no tail there. Then all of a sudden we get it down in this level and, ooh, look at the size of that tail. And, oh, there's a nice tail. Oh, look at the size of that tail. Oh, look at this size of this tail. And then all of a sudden, hey, W's. And woo, up we go. Then notice at the end of the move, at the peaks, hey, look, notice there's not many wicks here, right? But all of a sudden now, oh, look at that wick. Ooh, look at that wick. Look at that wick. Ooh, look at that wick. So you can actually make the argument, if you see clusters of tails, that means that there must be some sort of buying interest. It's not a guarantee, but nonetheless, it's good anecdotal sort of, I'm listening to the market message, right? What is the market trying to say to me? So lots of wicks up top, tails down below, a little bit of wicky in here, rally. Ooh, big wicks up here, beg your pardon, tails. Big wicks up here, oop, down we go. Interesting, start to put in some tails here. Now we kind of ate that tail up, so it'll be interesting to see what we do here. But notice, hey, there's that BFF level again that Beamish guy's talking about, 78.6. Brian's favorite fib. So, what a big surprise. We actually got some play off of that. I think you should learn to expect that to come in off of BFFs. Also, too, notice that we're actually below value here. That's interesting. You can kind of see, if you just look at the profile, this is a concept we teach in our level 2 program. You notice that actually profile's kind of empty right in here. That means we could spend some time, back and forth here, just filling in this profile. Because remember, the profile, that's not very good. Profile ideally wants to look like a parabola. You can also see that if we do get back up top here, there's a big area on the profile that needs filling up there as well. But in the short term, 4-hour chart, what I thought was really cool about this chart is, and I see a lot of people don't know how to do this, and it drives me crazy, but of course, I heard somebody make up an expression, hey, that's a weekly death cross. Everybody trades weekly death cross. I've been 35 years in this business. I've never heard of that before. But, people make shit up as they go. This time it's different. That was from that same guy. So, it seems every time. Anyway, point here is that how do you actually draw trend lines? Another concept we teach in our education program. You're actually supposed to use market structure. Now, the easy way for you to see market structure, especially if it's bearish, is what are we supposed to think if we ever see the market smiling at us? Oh, that must be market structure. Up, down, up, can't go to new highs, breaks through the lows. You can now officially draw a trend line off of that peak. But more importantly, you can actually draw a trend channel off of this double top here. And notice, we draw the channel, boom, 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 boom. We project it correctly. Most people don't know how to do channels correctly. And it actually gives us a midpoint pivot of the said channel. And you tell me, did the market respect this midpoint? Keep in mind, all I did to draw this channel was this point, and then I'm not going to tell you what the third point was. Take our education program to learn how to do that. Or maybe ask in the AMA.
We're hitting 5 minutes past the hour, so just give me that.
All right, thank you, sir. And actually, I asked Chris to do that, so you're doing an awesome job. And Chris is total globetrotter. Really cool listening to Chris's adventures around the world. Maybe, you know what? I think we probably need to bring you on Friday and you tell us about your adventures in the Middle East. That would be cool.
Sure.
You got drone footage and all that kind of stuff too, eh?
I do.
Oh,
Got
that would
drone footage in Saudi and little drone footage in Bahrain as well.
awesome. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so back to our story, and we'll wind this up because we got to get on to the Q&A. So, market structure defines your top. It actually helps you draw trend channels. And notice, is this market structure, is this range, is this steep? Is it flat? I think the answer is pretty simple. It's flat. Look at this midpoint. Interesting how this market structure defined that midpoint. Now, how the hell did that happen? Well, clearly everything's all related. And notice this point, right off that midpoint. How the hell did that happen? That happens to be the 50% level. I mean, how did that happen? And then look how we oscillated around the midpoint here. Man, that's incredible. And then finally puked out. So you can see this is basically top half of our trading range, there to there. And this is the bottom half of our trading range, there to there. It's that simple. So down here, we're at Brian's BFF. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. Interesting level down in there. Could we maybe have a nice little FU move? Notice that A, B, C, D that we made reference to on the daily charts. Well, that would take us right into those tails. Typical Monday in Wall Street. Let's go and break the kids' hearts. I mean, they love to do this to us. We might even find, I won't do this on this chart because this would be drilling down to like a half-hour chart, but notice this range here to here. You could probably project it off of this high, which probably takes us down into this area. So I like the idea that this is the bottom end of the range. Are sharpshooter traders going to be taking some shots down in here? Absolutely. But, markets range about 80% of the time. You often hear on our Wednesday shows, Paul's basically buying against the bottom end range, selling against top end range, doesn't want to do anything unless he sees otherwise. I might make the argument because of this trend channel that we actually have a little range here as well. And notice that's actually up against the POC. So quite often what will end up happening is, number one, we've got a really big battle. Can we actually accept back into value here? We might, and as you can see, the market tried to accept back into value and it got rejected hard there, right? And that does happen a lot. So we haven't actually accepted back into value yet. As I said, because Monday's coming up here and we still have this bear ABCD, I actually like the idea of a nice big FU move just to break all the kids' hearts to get Monday morning going in earnest. Maybe some, like I saw Wall Street was bringing out news about Tether was making erroneous statements back in 2018. And it's like, that's the news? You're making reference to something that happened in Tether like 4 or 5 years ago? That seems a bit suspicious. So is this all sort of Wall Street screwing with the kids? Remember the BITO ETF I showed you? Could they, encourage the public to go, screw it, this $15 call that I was forced to buy this BITO, just sell the damn thing and market and just get me out of there. I wouldn't be surprised if Wall Street's going to encourage a lot of people to do that through here. So be forewarned, that could potentially be on the docket here. But at this 38.2 level, I like the idea that we have one more counter trend rally. The question ultimately here is, can we get through this traffic area to get back up top? Considering that this is the midpoint of the channel, technically that would be kind of like a Wyckoff check. That is the POC. I mean, let's cross that bridge when we come to it, but my hunch is we're probably going to do something like down, then up, then we're going to have to consolidate in here and sort of find direction following that. And this might turn into some big-ass inverted head and shoulders that takes us higher. That's definitely possible, back up to the top end of the range. Or, as often happens, we actually reject at the POC and we have to come down, and that's it for the rally, and that's that head and shoulders scenario I was talking about earlier. All right, so that hopefully gives you a pretty good idea of what I'm seeing out of the corn. Gives you some levels. You can look at the tweet. Please follow me on Twitter if you like to get sort of, I'm constantly spitting out stuff on my Twitter feed about all of the Wall Street fugazi and how they enjoy messing the public over and just basically stealing our money. And hopefully you learn from this and you don't fall into the traps that they lay. And then at the same time too, maybe I can encourage you to consider joining the site, and through things like the that ES signal. Jesus, that was incredible. That came in there, and other sort of trade ideas that I tweet out. Also, too, we have an official TRI Twitter account. This is just sort of my personal rant page, but TRI PMA. On Twitter, this is sort of Josh's, Josh sort of the head of the marketing crew. This is his sort of official page to bang out TRI stuff. So feel free to join both of those, totally free. I don't plan on paying anything to Alan for this service. So I get, just ridiculous marketing shills. If anything, people that haven't paid, they're probably going to be targeted even more. To encourage them to pay for this like Twitter blue nonsense. So just be forewarned, a lot of people constantly shilling off of my page. And I wouldn't even be surprised if we go through the notifications, we probably see more shillers are popping off. But anyway, that's here and there. Okay, so gave you hopefully a pretty good overview of what I'm seeing out of the corn. Hopefully I've given you a little bit of a cautionary wording there about price. I don't think there's a huge hurry to do anything here. I think you probably, if anything, we probably want to see how Wall Street acts when it comes out of the gate tomorrow. And there's still plenty of reason to look for more downside here. This is the 4-hour chart. Just looking at momentum, it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, that's a big M that just came in there. Willie is getting stupid, so I suppose we could get a bit of a move up here. But sometimes these momentum oscillators actually just sit negative. You can see that big selling bar. That was the volume that concerned me off of the higher time frame charts. Until I actually start seeing higher highs and higher lows out of the green bars, which we haven't. This was 416. That was 334. So we're still not printing higher green bars. I just have to be cautious. As I said earlier, pullbacks are buying opportunities as far as I'm concerned. I suppose we won't get into ETH today, but here's another good example where I could see further downside in the crypto market. But like I said a moment ago, if there are pullbacks in earnestness, I actually want to be a buyer into those. So just as one example, Alan, of course, is, doing his whole Doge thing. I don't know whether he's interested in Doge anymore or not, but I did say recently that if Doge could work, I wasn't going to chase this pump, but if Doge could work its way back down into BFFs, then Brian's probably going to want to be a buyer. So you'll notice that this happens to be the Binance quote, but there is Brian's BFF, and you notice that we just traded into that. Yesterday, it took the patience of Job just to sit and wait. Also, you notice that that's off of the original market structure bottom. So guess who went and bought some Doge here recently? Call me crazy. I don't have an expectation for this thing to take off right away. There are no W's here. This is just simply buying at the bottom end of trading range into market support. Could there be a whole bunch of FUery down here? Absolutely. And what I've basically said on the website and in the conversations with site members is I always like to go and nibble against the bottom ends of ranges just to get a position going. And of course, Brian's BFF Hopefully you all understand what my thinking is there. So I just went and bought, I think it was a few $100, maybe $1,000, I don't know, something like that. My next sort of cue to actually go and spend more money is I need to now see a W on the other side of this trend line. I don't know how long that's going to take. We might actually have to come all the way down here, and there you get your W. I have no idea. But just FYI, I'm a man of my word. You see the BFF level, you see the market structure. It shouldn't surprise you that Brian went in and bought a little bit of this crap. So there you go. Other than that, a lot of the other names that I've got bids working on, they're not coming down fast enough. I mean, that guy, I've got bids working down below. Can't buy there. There's one name that I literally want to just go and take a massive position in, but I have to be patient. No way I can buy that there. What letter of the alphabet is that? You can see we were potentially hunting bullish setups here, but now we got a big fat M staring us in the face, so that's officially off the table. That's officially off the table. And what are we supposed to think if we start seeing the market smiling at us? You better be damn careful in this thing. If you are long and if you've not taken profits on the move up, then I'm not quite sure why you're even doing this. But that looks dangerous. And you can see where Brian's BFF is. In fact, I think I have a bid working off of that original market structure. So I could easily see this thing come all the way right back down here. No problem whatsoever. So just understand that's the context of the broader market when it comes to things like altcoins and stuff. So cool your jets. Don't push. You might get yourself into a bit of trouble here. Okay, let's pop on over to the Q&A document. And if we have any more time, I got about an hour to work with here. Once we're done the questions, then I'm going to head off and spend the afternoon with the boy. So let's go. What do we want to do here? New layout. We'll do a brand new one for you guys. Just so nothing is. We'll start off with. We can get rid of that. Start off with weekly chart. And let's throw on all our fancy schmancy indicators. So there we go. All right. So you can see there's no hurry here. In fact, actually, Alan even came out recently and he said, I used to love crypto. Now I love AI. Whatever the hell that means. Wasn't he the one saying that AI was evil and that we should kill all AI? It's remarkable how these guys are such hypocrites. And of course, why wasn't the guy telling the public, do not buy my idea up here? And princes of Nigeria were shilling the fuck out of this thing right here. What can you do? All right, so where is that document? AMA. I know you're around here somewhere. Not many questions. As I've said before, feel free to pop in and post a question here. Only a couple questions. And I noticed that the school term's it's a bit light. I hear a lot of these sort of newly created, newly minted crypto experts are now offering course offerings or even more expensive than our basic course. And yet, when I was listening to what they were shilling, I was like, oh, this has got disaster written all over it. Oh, well. Anyway, number one from Geo. Hi, Brian. Hope you're fine. Well, thank you, sir. I seem to be relatively okay. May I say a prayer for Liam and I for this afternoon, and more importantly for Liam, and then I will be fine. In fact, I'll be more than fine. I'll be pleased as punch. So everybody, please just take a moment and just say just like a karmic best wishes for Liam, because believe it or not, it works. It's ridiculous. Every time I ask all of you to do that and I see a whole bunch of good luck, Brian, best wishes to Liam and stuff, he's in a good mood. When I don't see it, and like I actually missed our show on Wednesday, last Thursday, Liam was in a pissy mood. So, all right, moving on. With your long market experience, oh boy, and especially with the LOL, Could you explain to me why you wouldn't adopt the following kind of LOL alternative, or why it could be not a good idea, please? Explain to me why you wouldn't adopt the following. All right, so the following. All right, so simply before sell half on a double, why don't put a stop at break even once the price is gone? See the chart below. Weekly Binance Zen USDT for more details about what I mean, please. Good vibes to Liam. Oh, thank you. So first and foremost, LOL, and this is where really sucks because, and I don't know where you learned what LOL is, but there was a gentleman who was on the site, geez, I guess about 4 or 5 years ago, incredibly famous person now in crypto because he bought Bitcoin at $1. And unfortunately, technically, he didn't do anybody in the space any favors because last cycle, right at the top, he started publicly coming out and saying things like, don't respect technical analysis. Just go and buy, and you're guaranteed to make money. Oh, Jesus, that didn't go over very well. And he just decided to hijack this whole concept that I taught in the education program. And I'm really sick. Sick to my stomach over this because it's not really fair to either myself or any of you if somebody comes along and hijacks a term that I specifically use that specifically is about a very specific thing in my old brokerage business. And just sort of hijacks it and uses it for his own purpose. And unfortunately, completely contrary to the whole purpose of the reason why I created this concept to begin with. Terrible. So what is the LOL? What is this little old lady concept? What is it? Let's just be perfectly clear. Now, you're taught this in the education program, so I'm a little disappointed that I'm not getting the message out very clearly. But maybe I'll just do a trivia question you guys on YouTube can answer. Does the little old lady want to be called and told that she was stopped out of her investment at a loss and she should walk away from the investment idea? I'm just going to sit and wait. I'm going to eat a little bit of my muffin here. Let's see if you guys can actually answer that question. All right, so the answer, and I'm seeing a bunch of comments, so at least you guys are trying over there, so that's good. But the simple answer is that I was a retail broker. And I can guarantee you, I had plenty of customers of mine as a retail broker. They would look me straight in the face and say, Brian, I do not want to be called and bugged about quote unquote trading. If you have an idea that you want me to invest in, fine. I'll take a shot on your idea. But don't be calling me and saying, oh, well, you just got stopped out and lost $1,000. Oh, well, next bus in 10 minutes. They do not want to hear that at all. And in fact, if they do hear that, they are going to be like, Brian, I did not want to do this. I'm not a trader. I only participated because, hey, the ladies at the Canasta club were talking about the stock market, and I said I had a nephew of mine who is a broker, and he's got me in the market. So, how do you build a book of business as a broker, knowing that if I give them a bad idea and it doesn't work, they don't want me to call them and tell them that the idea is not working, but taking the loss is okay. In fact, managing the position at a loss is still okay. And the point here is that LOL strategy, this LOL concept, is all about risk management. It has absolutely nothing to do with, oh, I'm going to buy this level and I'm going to risk to that level and I'm going to get stopped out here and this is my target. Nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with, if I'm going to take a risk in the marketplace, how can I take a risk where, if the trade idea just doesn't work, it's not going to kill me? And the answer is, you never risk the more than 5% of your stake or what you have to work with in that particular trading plan on any one idea. And if you have to risk that to zero, fine. But she's not going to get the call. She's not going, you see what happened with, you could probably do it on well, no, I guess it hasn't quite rallied enough for a double. But there's plenty of altcoins here that have doubled. Just check out Julian. And Julian, are you still here? Am I supposed to pronounce how am I supposed to pronounce the first letter of your name? Is it Julian? And is it a J or is it an L? It just drives me crazy. But anyway, Julian's in here. It's an I. Okay, so Julian. So am I pronouncing it correctly when I say Julian and I don't hit that letter, the first letter? Let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly for the record right now. Anyway, this guy's a whiz at the banging out doubles. It's beautiful to watch him. I don't know whether he's actually had to sit on losing positions or not. But the point here is, LOL is all about, I'm going to take a risk in the marketplace and I don't have to worry about getting stopped out. Yeah, the king of KuCoin. Yeah, totally, eh? And actually, where's Paul? Don't you and Paul work together over on his site? Man, that's impressive what you guys do. And actually, where's Eddie? I haven't seen Eddie. I hope Eddie's doing okay. All right, so if you do want to be a risk taker, that's fine. This is talking more now about Joe Sixpack. Now, when I say the word Joe Sixpack, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the average Joe, which is probably who you are, Geo. You're just an average Joe. Geo, you're an average Geo. We'll call you Geo Sixpack. That risk taker says that they are going to manage positions and they really don't want to risk more than 50% of their capital that they put into any one idea. And I think it's a good idea, especially if you're trading options, that you just simply have a firm, if this thing goes down 50%, get me the hell out of here. Now, in that kind of scenario, do you want to include things that if the trade starts to work in my favor, I will move my stop to break even, and that way, if it does come back, I walk away? Perfectly fine. That is a very typical market participant. So my hunch here, listening to this question and where you're going with this, is you're probably more a Joe Sixpack, which makes sense. I think all of you are Joe Sixpacks. In fact, I would make the argument that probably none of you are little old ladies. And you don't want to sit on a position that's underwater and have to sit on that position for a year or two. That's my hunch. I try to tell you all that, but you don't listen to me. The only thing you hear is little old lady doesn't have to worry about getting stopped out and can risk to zero, and I don't have to worry about being wrong. Hey, I want to be a little old lady. That's me. But you have to understand the risk taker side of it is apples and oranges. Ah, and Gio said he could be. Hey, I'm not talking about what he's like in the bedroom. All I'm talking about is what he's like in the marketplace. Well, we can bring the ladies in, and the ladies can talk about what a superstar he is, where it counts. All I'm talking about is what you're doing in the market. And what I would suggest with this is don't intermingle the two. Try and remember that little old lady, Joe Sixpack, margin trader, futures trader, options trader, these are all taught in the risk management module, and they're all references to how you manage risk in the marketplace. And what I would simply say is just because the rule says don't risk more than 5% of your stake on any one idea, what I actually see a lot of people do, which I think is an excellent idea, and I do it myself, like this Doge. Do you think I put more than 5% of what I work with in the marketplace into that trade right there? The idea is maximum 5% risk. The little play account that we created on Binance, and I'll get the coins off of Binance and on the ledger as soon as I get my act together and get the ledger set up. But the whole point of this is I've started a position. And I think this trade was like $250 of that 11,000. So I think it's about 12,000 now that we got over there. And this is our demo account. This is the same thing as last cycle. I started with $500. This image. And just applying this little old lady concept. Buy, don't risk more than 5% of your stake on any one trade. Sell half when it doubles in price, and then every time it doubles, just keep selling another half. That's how I did this, and it worked really well. Now I was starting with $500. We took it into the hundreds of thousands. So now we're going to do it with 10 Gs, and this is exactly the same thing. So I waited for the pullback. Could this thing, in fact, I wouldn't even be surprised. Knowing Alan, it wouldn't surprise me one bit that this thing actually is a bear ABCD. Where we go. And this might get really ugly. And of course, it wouldn't surprise me because I don't think Alan gives a flying flute about anybody who actually buys like Tesla stock or PayPal stock or, probably is a space company stock or the Boring Company or this. I wouldn't be surprised if you find Doge is down here at 127 sats here in the not too distant future. That would actually align nicely with this original market structure. So I went and bought a little bit of this. $250 of I think the account's about 14, 15 Gs, but I got about 2.5, 3 Gs in that DI breadth indicator trading plan. So that's about 11 Gs. So 5% of 11 Gs is about $550. So putting 200 and change into it right here, that's like 2% of that number. And I'll add another 1%. We go all the way down here. I'll add another 1%. As I said to you a moment ago, as soon as I start seeing weekly W's on this thing, which might not happen for quite a while. I mean, look at what he did here. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what happens, right? And there's your W. So, in this example, just, talking out my butt here. If we go reload zone. So here you can see there's Brian's BFF. But you notice that they actually put the bottom in right back down against the original lows. There's the W, and that's actually where I can go add right there. So this is a log scale, so the numbers are obviously quite skewed. But the point being that I've started to buy. It doesn't mean I've finished buying. Doesn't mean I've loaded up totally. Am I doing the LOL strategy? Yes. So what is LOL? It's don't risk more than 5% of your stake on any one idea. That is religion, and you are never allowed to break that rule. And it doesn't have anything to do with getting stopped out. In fact, the whole point here is you don't get stopped out. Now, if you want to change this, that Brian, I'm running a Joe six pack risk management strategy. And in that strategy, if we start actually moving up and I can move my stop to scratch and I'll walk away if this thing comes back to scratch. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But don't confuse it with the LOL risk management approach. All right, what do you think? Did that answer that question? Gio, are you here? Hope so. And it looks to me like you're thinking along the right lines. I like this thinking. Maybe wait for W's to come in to actually pull the trigger. There's nothing wrong with that. Had you sold some up top here, love for you to reload. Nothing wrong with that. But just remember, LOL is risk management. Nothing to do with trade setups. Okay. Question number 2. And then we'll pop on over to YouTube. And if you have any questions over there, we can answer. If not, we'll call it a day. So number 2, how do you become patient in your setups? Becoming an LOL from a crack addict trader or Joey six-pack? Well, first off, I suppose, the number one question is, do you know how long I've been at this silly game? I've been at this game so long that I have bought on sort of size. Take any asset, doesn't really matter. Could be, even this, right? I have been at this game so long, I have gone and bought this. Hey, I'm going to throw all of my 100% of my whole stake into this idea right here. And I have seen this level get busted out here. And I have seen, maybe more in the stock market than crypto. I don't really do this in crypto. But, even maybe like a leverage trade, don't take it off when we break this level. See the price go down to here, and whatever capital I had to work with got completely wiped out, and I'm back to being broke again. So, and, sadly, I've often told people this. It's, there's a relatively new gentleman to the website, and I sort of went off on a kind of a rant yesterday in the lounge, because the lounge is pretty quiet these days, so I was able to just sort of tell him exactly what I thought and felt. And it's sort of like you can either listen to me and follow my direction and force yourself to do 100 paper trades. You can go the 20 paper trades, then 21 tenth account size trades, and then after those 40 trades, if you haven't made any mistakes, if your setup is firing on all cylinders and you see positive market balances from those 40 trades, then awesome, you can go live. I can absolutely guarantee you without a shadow of a doubt, anybody that's entering our level 1 program, you're not going to be able to do that. I do like how our level 1 instructor, Grim, specifically says, I want to see you do 100 paper trades. My hunch is through that 100 paper trades exercise, you will make lots of mistakes. You will learn how difficult it is to be patient and disciplined. But if you do the 100 trades, I can pretty much guarantee you everybody that I've ever worked with that has gone through that process and done what we've asked, they've come out the other side going, I think I know how to play this game. And thank you for forcing me to go through that process. It was boring. I didn't have any skin in the game, so half of the time I wasn't paying attention. But ironically enough, I can actually tell the people that will succeed at this over the long term are the people that will put in the time to do the boring, crappy work. Because make no mistake about it, you're trying to learn a profession here. And it is hard work. Hell, I could even use some more discipline and patience in my work. I mean, I'm trying to be the demonstrator of best practices, but I even see that even, 30 bloody years into this damn game, I still make mistakes. I mean, it happens. So, there's a reason why the education program is 3 separate courses that are spread out over a year. I don't think you actually even know what this job of being a trader actually is until you have actually done it for 1 full year. And if that's just running the paper trading, building out your strategy, I think this is, yeah, you can do the paper trading. I mean, I have a futures account set up here, I have interactive brokers set up here. But ironically enough, most of the trading I'm doing these days is paper trading because I'm still finding that since I came back from Portugal, number one, market state's awfully difficult. So margin trading right now, very difficult. But I also noticed that I'm a bit sloppy in my trading over that last fall. So I put myself in the penalty box and said, Brian, you can't trade real money till you actually start showing that you actually can do this thing called the process. And it's been a bitch to turn this thing around. I'll tell you that much, by crackers. But I've gotten back to the point where now I feel like my trading is solid and I am hunting setups and doing the right thing. But to tell you, it's difficult. I'm also running various different trading plans. So that's specifically talking about futures trading. I mean, I buy stock for my retirement account. I buy little old lady. I mean, the one good part about the little old lady plan is if you can obey the risk management, then who cares? You throw a 1% into an idea and it doesn't work, well, so fucking what? It's not that big of a deal. There's a lot of forgiveness room with the little old lady risk management. So, to answer your question, this is a profession that you're trying to learn. Why do you think 90 to 95% of the public cannot do this thing called trading? Understand that. We got 60 people watching this video right now. Do you understand that, what, 56 of you, no, 50, 54 of you can't do this job. Okay, there's a reason why I have the little old lady plan for my brokerage business. I mean, you got to keep building your book of business. Most of the people that will come to the market as, I want to be a trader, you can't do this job. And especially with the way that I see the social media is setting up people. Like there's one site, they call it the sniper course or something like that. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I can't believe these people, they're getting set up to just get their asses handed to them. I couldn't believe it. I mean, there's a reason why our course is built the way that it is. Absolutely. And frankly speaking, there was somebody that said to me recently, hey, Brian, maybe what we should do is like a mentor. And, actually, I think that's an excellent idea. But, if you wanted to learn things like the martial arts and you go and found like a mentor and like everybody's seen that movie Karate Kid. What did the kid have to do for like the first month while working with, what was his name? Yamada? I think that's what his name was. Right? Wax on, wax off. Does that sound a bit familiar? So I would actually argue you don't even really know Miyagi. There you go. Sorry, got that wrong. I would say you don't even know the business. You don't even know the business of trading until you've done it for a full year. And then I would actually argue that it takes a full cycle. Now, these cycles are about 4 years in duration. And, like one guy came on the site recently. Like I said, I had a nice conversation with him, sort of kind of splotchy in and out through the weekend. But hey, he was the only one in the lounge, and he had questions, and he triggered me, and so off I went. But I don't think you actually can call yourself a professional trader until you've actually gone through one of these full 4 year money cycles. 4 years. Hell, like we had Colin in here earlier. I don't know whether he's still around. He was a really good example where he had to go from absolute top of the market. He joined TRI, and he literally, I remember him passing around the message that by the time we got to the bottom part of the following shitty part of the cycle, he said he was like down to his last $10,000, and this was it. If this didn't work, then he was going to have to call it quits. And this last cycle peak, he was in bed with Danny, and the rest is history. I think though the one good part about it is that he actually learned to take profits at the beginning, or when the market started to break. And he was like, I'm going and ringing the register. I got a baby on the way. I got to buy mama a house. So he's living testament. And he's right there in the lounge, still listening. He is living testament that you do not know this business. And I don't think you can actually declare victory until you've actually been through a full 4 year cycle. And what we just saw in crypto over the past month or two, this is, if anything, they just laid the biggest fucking trap, and they are going to break a lot of kids' hearts here over the next 6 to 12 months. Sorry. It's brutal, but it's the way this game goes. So, how do you become patient in your setups? Number one, I want to see you do everything that Grim tells you to do. There's a reason why you journal. There is a reason why you build your spreadsheet and track every single thing that you do. There is a reason why you go back and you do things like demon finders. There's a reason why you should fill out, like on a quarterly basis, your TRI report card. How are you doing at your process goals? Grade yourself. Actually, this past 3 months, I did really poorly. I think I just told you when I came back from Portugal, of course, I was full of all, hey, I'm the man. Look at me. I'm so awesome. Hey, I could just buy and sell anything and I'm guaranteed to make money. Oh, that didn't go very well. Then I'll fill it out my report card. Oh, lost money this week. Oops, lost money this week. You know what? I better dial shit back. And I had to put myself in the penalty box. And now, actually, what is it? It's March now. Jesus, that took like 4 or 5 months to turn that damn thing around. So it's just the way that it goes in this trading world. And the worst part about it is the only person that's going to hold you to account is yourself. There is nobody standing over your shoulder going, don't do that. So I don't know whether that answers your question, but remember, I've been at this game a very, very long time. I mean, thank heavens, I do know what it takes to actually win at this game. And it's what bugs me about social media and stuff is that they always sort of bill this as this is so easy on the way up when we're in bull runs. And anybody can make money. And hey, just, technical analysis doesn't matter. Just buy. And you're like literally walking into a trap. This time it's different, right? And all that kind of talk. So, ironically enough, my suggestion to whoever asked this question, put your money away and just do exactly what we ask you to do. At the end of this process, if you do exactly what we tell you to do, you will be an awesome risk taker just like the rest of our OGs. I don't know, Colin, you tell me. Colin's gone through the whole process. I mean, he is living testament. He's right there on YouTube. I'm immensely proud of the work that he's done, and he's very successful. I mean, you tell these people, if you could, please, I'd appreciate it. I mean, I don't know whether the chat gets played if you watch this after the fact, but, you know, am I speaking the truth or am I blowing a bunch of smoke up your butt? All right. Well, anyway, there you are. Colin says, TRI, learn to trade, manage risk. Step 2, get a job in the space. Go to conferences, meet people, network. Step 3, build something. Hey, there you go. Sounds good. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't see any other questions. Let's, what time is it? It's about 7 minutes left. Step 4, retire. There you go. Except for this stupid Beamish guy, he's on this bent to try and save the world. Mind you, I've got my buddy in Hawaii. He is looking for properties. So I've got my Freedom 55 plan all ready to go. If he closes that deal over there, and I've been waiting for somebody to bring me some sort of deal from Portugal, but I think that European dream was put on the kibosh for the time being. But my Hawaiian real estate developers still got stuff in the hopper, so you never know. One of these days, you might find that I actually am reporting from Hawaii, so that would be kind of cool. Anyway. All right, let's see what you guys what are saying there. I wish Brian never thought him anything. Oh, I don't know what that means. Okay, let's quickly scroll through, see if you guys have any requests, and then we'll be on our way here. If you have a chance, can you explain confirmed bullish or bearish divergence? There was a TradingView indicator you showed a while back. What is the indicator called? Yeah, well, and I think it's a TRIer that did that. Super cool script. I don't know who this is, but I think it was an old TRIer, if I'm not mistaken. MAB, not sure what that stands for. Divs. And he actually wrote this script. So you can see MACD, RSI, MFA, MVI, Willie, Squeeze, Chaikin money flow index, OBV. And he actually built the script out so that it actually spits out whether, you know, because keep in mind, I mean, how does this work, right? Really simply put, let's go down to a lower time frame and probably see some more signals. And it takes a minute for this thing to load, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I won't really speak to this indicator. I mean, I think this is how it works, but I'm not totally positive. And actually, that didn't work. Let's try maybe like something like a stock. Actually, why don't we go? We'll use all your public stuff. All right, so you can see here. I mean, this is freaking awesome, right? Look at all these confirmed divergences. 9 bullish confirmed divergence and 1 bearish divergence. So you can see, and if we just pull up the indicators, you should see this. Yeah. So you can see that MACD, for example, was making higher lows and higher highs, but price itself was making lower lows. That is a divergence. I'm a big fan between, well, not between. Big fan of this idea of distinguishing between potential and confirmed. And something like RSI, you can see this pretty well here. So let's minimize that. That. And open that up. So you can see on RSI, we made a higher low. So we made a lower low here, and I don't see RSI on this list here. Oh, there's more. Oh, interesting. Not quite sure what his settings are for RSI. I've just got this set to 14. But you can see RSI made a higher low here. Price made a lower low. That would be a divergence. And this, at this point, is potential. Yes, this is a higher low, and that's a lower low. But you don't really know what's going to happen here. Until, because keep in mind, I mean, you can even see this, right? This looks like an M here, right? See how that looks like an M? And actually, it did fire. That's probably why RSI is not on here. But what I just want you to see here, and maybe we'll put this away just for the time being. Where is that? Let's get rid of that. And where is it? I don't see it. Oh, man. What are you doing to me here? There it is. Okay. So RSI is making higher low, price making lower low. So the key here is this, at this point, this would be a potential. So we've made a higher low in RSI, but price has made a lower low. This becomes confirmed as a divergence when you see RSI actually put in this bullish market structure. So right there. Notice down, up, down, breakout. All right, if we maximize that RSI pane, you can see we actually went up right there through the middle part of this. So W is now in on RSI. And we made a lower low. That is now, at this point, a confirmed divergence. So I hope that makes sense. Potential while we're making these higher lows. Confirmed when this W actually comes in. Maybe it's not the best example, but hopefully that gives you an idea. So you can see here, do we have any potential divergences here yet? No, because RSI is making higher highs and price is making higher highs. We go back in time. Notice this top. RSI there is 67.77, 67.65. That is a lower high in RSI, but you see price went to higher highs. Higher high, lower high. Divergence. Potential divergence, because this is a lower high, all through here, potential divergence. Confirmed divergence when the market structure is solidified here. Does that make sense? Hope you got that. And I got to tell you, this is what, here's another one. Look at the size of this one. That's what she said. But look at that one. I mean, huge div, right? But interesting, didn't actually confirm until way over here. You know what I do? I find it fascinating. You don't see anybody on social media. Nobody talks about divergences and understanding the difference between potential and confirmed. Nobody. Even these guys that sell like courses that are more expensive than our frickin' level 1 course. And I don't see anybody teaching this. It's baffling. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. This is the one way you can use market-based information as a secret weapon. And you tell me, RSI just kept continuing making lower highs and lower highs and lower highs. The price of the market just going like this. Can you see how this is a secret weapon? You should go, you know what? Price is a hell of a lot weaker than price is leading you to believe. Maybe I better not buy until I start seeing some W's. What I mean, I would have thought that this would have been a really, really powerful message that we could get out to the public. And yet I don't hear anybody. It's baffling to me. It's absolutely baffling to me. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you understand divergences a little better. All right, how are we doing on time? All right, that is 12:32. Somebody asked right up at the top. Yeah, BT. I wonder who you are, BT. How do you know that? Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't know about that. Isn't that funny? I mean, yeah, theoretically, I should have like fucking like 4 or 5 fucking Wimbledon titles to my name. I think God's got a weird plan for me. I'll tell you that much, by crackers. A weird plan. All right. Anyway. Oh, interesting. People say TRI is too hard. Huh. Go figure. Yeah, and there you are, Andre, with the whole copy trade bullshit, eh? It's terrible. Like I said, random task there, actually. I need to hear more people in social media tell the public this. Don't do copy trading. Learn how to actually trade, you knuckleheads. All right? Don't do the copy trade report because you're ending up just setting yourself up for failure. But anyway. Okay. Hey, Michael says I'm looking super sharp today. All right, thanks, sir. Yeah, I don't know. I woke up this morning with a whole whack of piss and vinegar in me. Josh, you posted. Was it risk management this week? So I hope they got a good lecture from you and Grim and all and Peter. Thank you, Andrew. Gold stake setup. My marketing department says though that we don't want to go down the road of gold stake setups. It just doesn't make us look very PMA-ish. So I do have to try and be a little bit more PMA going forward, not so bitter. Oh goodness. All right. Yeah. All right. Okay, I'm just reading through the messages, seeing if there's any questions. What does it say here? MM, of course, best wishes towards that divine of your happy, delightful afternoon with Liam today. Awesome. Thank you, MM. Appreciate it. The King of KuCoin. Yeah. I made reference to that earlier. Man, that Iliad was just a machine. It's incredible. Yeah, I don't know. See, interesting question about the US dollar. I mean, I'll give you my 2 cents. I think current bid's about a tenth of a penny or so. What do you make out of that crazy US dollar index, eh? And the problem is that the Fed has been coming along here and saying that they want to be raising interest rates. So I look at this image. I get the impression that we need to come back down into this sort of 102.5 area. And like we said, that I think is sort of your impetus for stock market rally and sort of risk on rally. And as I said, I got the impression that somebody is purposefully sitting on crypto right now. Remember that BITO analysis I showed you earlier? I actually think crypto, and you see the way that the shitcoins are acting. I think crypto could have a really, really big bull market. But it's kind of weird how somebody really seems to be sitting on this crypto space. And of course, you got the Gensler issues. Is the SEC going to drop a bomb on us any day? See somebody mentioning there, good old CZ and Binance. At the end of the day, I think this all comes down to who is going to control the quote unquote stable coin marketplace. And of course, we know who runs the United States government. Two letters of the alphabet. First letter is the letter following or just before H. Second letter is the letter just before T. I won't specifically say, but every single person that's been in charge of the U.S. Treasury going back to probably the Second World War. No, probably, let's say Tricky Dick's time, has basically come right out of this firm. So it really shouldn't surprise us that basically they dictate policy. And oh, by the way, they happen to have bought Polo way back when. And then as soon as they got everything they possibly could out of it, they spun it off to some subsidiary. But they still have a controlling interest. And of course, they have their own stable coin, which I believe they want to put everybody else who has the audacity to even hint that they are going to have a US dollar stable coin. They want to put them out of business. You saw what they did to Mr. Kwan. And frankly speaking, I think that Mr. CZ is playing with fire here. And he's an interesting character. I'll tell you that much, bike crackers. I've seen this in life. Like some people that, they talk about it being born under a good sign. I don't know. But he seems to be almost bulletproof, and every damn thing that he touches since he's been in this space has just gone straight up. I would have thought there's been a few times here along the way that he would have been derailed, but he just keeps seeming to spin it back in his favor. Interesting that he's decided now to actually move his headquarters to Hong Kong, of all places. I mean, is he getting into bed with the Chinese government? Does he want his stable coin to be somehow part of the I didn't say anything. That's you typing, Adam, not me. I always talk in code, right? We all know who Joey Diamond is, right? So I will say this one thing. I don't think it's in your best interest to take a bet against CZ. For some reason, he seems to be able to pull rabbits out of his butt right, left, and center. And I'm not quite sure what his angle is by relocating to Hong Kong here. That seems awfully, awfully suspicious. Something just stinks about all of this. Having said that, in crypto nowadays, I think there's one simple expression that I think it articulates the entire space. And really, it's been this way for quite a while. Not your keys, not your coins. You're going to play on these centralized exchanges. Keep in mind, centralized exchanges have been the Achilles heel of crypto since day one. You can go ahead and talk about Crapsy. Any of you remember Crapsy? I had an account on Crapsy. How about MintPal? Pull old Mr. Pennicook and MintPal. How about Quadriga? How about Mt. Gox? How about Cryptopia? Could Binance be the next shoe to drop? Maybe. FTX. I mean, what I find interesting about the FTX story is I actually think that they walked into a trap. I think that the regulators in the United States and that wonderful firm that I don't want to make reference to because they'll probably try and put me out of business if I make direct reference to them. I think that they laid the trap for FTX. And this is exactly what they wanted to see. They wanted to see an FTX. So now the regulators have a green light to come in and do anything they want. And I think that the whole thing was done on purpose, which is very tragic. Very, very tragic. I honestly, for the sake of crypto, I hope that SBF guy does get the 155 years that he's facing. The sad part about it is, because of the way our society is built, he'll get the 155 years, and in 6 months he'll be let out on parole for good behavior. Because a certain politician that he happened to have bought happens to know a certain prison warden who happens to know a certain parole board who happens to know a certain blah, 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 blah. And somebody in the hangout here even just said he's not even going to get 1 day of jail time. Why? Because the whole thing was set up to begin with. Which just is tragic. It's really tragic. I've often said, this is sort of its rhetoric, and maybe we'll finish off on this because I wanted this to be a positive experience. But I've often said to people that the very people that you all hate are actually going to be the biggest beneficiary of all the hard work that all you developers and all you visionaries and all you people, the believers in the blockchain technology, which frankly speaking is revolutionary, and it is going to be a major driver of corporate profits now for the next probably 10, 20 years. Those are the people that are actually going to benefit the most out of all of the hard work that you guys have done. But if you want to let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's try and stay positive. Keep in mind, if you just control your own behavior, try to figure out some sort of cost, some sort of value for the investment ideas that you have. With Bitcoin, it's really easy. POW names, it's really easy. You don't have to get sucked into that nightmare. In fact, you can actually change your life. Right? Colin's a great example. You have to make a commitment that you're not just doing this for the next 6 months. You're here to learn a profession. You're here to learn how to change your life. And the interesting thing is, if you actually learn how to do this behavior correctly, it does spill over into your life. You actually become a better person. Journaling and actually journaling your bad behavior and getting it out so you can actually see your bad behavior and then trying to take the steps to correct that bad behavior, that works in every facet of your life. Trying to make a positive difference in this world, people. It's not an accident. Good people do generally good in this world. Bad people usually generally do bad. So, just try and remember this, right? Not your keys, not your coins. If you play the game of keeping your assets on centralized exchanges, and those centralized exchanges blow themselves up, if at the very least you just have to go, well, and it's part of the landscape. Get used to it. I suppose the good thing is some of the Mt. Gox people are actually going to get a bit of money back here. So there's a nice little spin on the story. But ironically enough, them getting their coins and then them all liquidating is probably going to be one of the things that facilitates Bitcoin coming back down to value, which is ironic. Anyway. Okay, I think we did a full meal deal here today. What do you think, Chris? Did we give any value to these good people?
Absolute value. I've got a lot of work to do for these clips. The full meal deal, as you said.
All right, awesome. PMA for the win. Like I said, let's really try and get these subscriptions. And actually, I see quite a few likes over there on the YouTube page. So it looks like we're heading in a good direction. Let's try and really, especially TRI alum and stuff. Let's try and point the public in a good direction here. I like the sort of the first part of this Broiler Chicken Show. We'll try and just stick to like a 4-hour daily, weekly Bitcoin analysis, just so everybody gets a bit of sort of markets commentary. Any ideas that I might be interested in or I'm actually buying, I'll tell you. And then the second half of this, we'll do a sort of Q&A the way that we did that here today. If anything, Chris is gonna and Josh, they're gonna try and chop these videos up because yeah, 2 hours, that's awful long time to watch. Into little segments, so we get a bit of traction there. Just make sure to make sure that your name is on the mailer list for the raffle. So if you're just watching for the first time, you would really like to learn this profession. Hell, you might win the raffle and get the thing paid for by TRI. I think that the price point that we changed for teaching you a profession, and if you just listen to us and just do everything that we ask you to do, it will change your life, and it is definitely worth the money spent. So PMA for the win. Tell a friend if you enjoyed the broadcast, got any value out of this. Let's get those likes, subscribes, write a comment. I'd love to see your comments. I get awfully sick of just reading all the, follow this clown on WhatsApp and you'll make a fortune trading crypto. Oh, God. I mean, let's balance it out. Just, give me some PMA. Maybe in the comments, throw a best wishes for Liam. I don't know. So we'll see everybody again next Sunday. Rock and roll. Wish us a safe and happy journey on the roads here today. Other than that, have yourselves an awesome rest of your day. And the only thing left for Brian to say at this point is bye for now. Oh, ran out of air there. Bye.